70 years of God's faithfulness. What began as a small group of believers with a big dream has become a testament to the goodness of our God. This is the story of Valley Church, a story written not in buildings or programs, but in the transformed lives of generations who have discovered that our God is faithful. On March 28, 1955, Harley Bailey stood with 24 charter members in a simple building on 4th Avenue. They called it Temple Baptist Church, a church birthed from the congregation of First Baptist Church of Sistersville. The 24-member congregation initially met in a building shared with Christ Methodist Church, an African-American congregation that held services on Sunday afternoons. Pastor Bailey served faithfully until May of 1955, and by July 6th, Pastor Bob Cunningham had answered the call to shepherd the young congregation. 5 deacons stood alongside him as they moved from that first location to a storefront building on Main Street. David Hartzler pastored from 1956 to 1958, and under his leadership, the church became affiliated with the General Association of Regular Baptists. Lee Tate served as pastor from November 1958 to 1961. After Tate left, the pulpit was filled by Robert S. Burns from 1961 to 1964. Pastor Howard Barnes became the pastor in 1964. During this time, the church began self-supporting, and the name of the church was changed to First Baptist Church. The members purchased the former Nazarene Church on the corner of 3rd and Robinson Street. They adopted their constitution on February 3rd, 1965, and on October 4th, 1965, the first service was held in the new church building. The first record of special music was on December 5th, 1965, when Clark Barnes and Marvin Williams performed a duet. The first wedding took place on June 18th, 1965, when Linda Williams and Creed Randolph were married. In 1967, the church choir sang over WETZ, sharing the gospel throughout the Ohio Valley. Gary Smith then came to pastor the church from 1968 to 1969, shepherding this growing congregation as they settled into their new identity and mission. (1970) brought Pastor Kenneth Brockham to lead the congregation into a season of remarkable growth. The church family expanded to an average attendance of 145, filling every pew and corner of their 3rd and Robinson location. The blessing of growth brought its own challenge. They had simply outgrown their home. The solution came in 1981 when the former Foodland building in Paden City became available. The congregation made a bold decision to purchase the grocery store, envisioning its transformation into their new church home. This wasn't just about buying a building. It was about committing to years of sacrificial work and investing in their future. Pastor Don Matheny arrived in 1984 to lead them through this ambitious renovation project. Many church members worked hard to transform the former grocery store into a church. Walls came down, new spaces were framed, and slowly but surely, the old Foodland began to look like a house of worship. On August 29, 1985, they had their first service with carpet only on the platform. By the end of 1985, their labor of love was complete. The former church building on 3rd and Robinson was sold to the Church of God, and in 1988, Pastor Dan Baker began his 8-year ministry, leading the congregation until 1996. These were years of deep community and connection. Bible studies brought the congregation together throughout the week. Potluck dinners filled tables and hearts in the fellowship hall. Youth trips created lasting bonds and memories. The youth even competed in Bible quiz competitions, celebrating both scripture knowledge and Christian fellowship. In 1997, Pastor Chassie arrived with a fresh vision for growth. When the house and property at 101 East Monroe Street, located behind the church, went up for sale in spring 1998, the congregation once again stepped out in faith. They voted to borrow the necessary funds to purchase the additional property, stucco the main building, construct a welcoming front entrance, and mount a steeple that could make the building look more like a church. Jim Potts pastored from 2001 to 2003, followed by Tom Smith, who served from 2003 to 2004. In 2004, Pastor David Tosi arrived with a shepherd's heart that excelled in visitation and pastoral care. Under his leadership, the midweek Patch the Pirate program and the annual Vacation Bible School soon became a cornerstone of community ministry, reaching families and children. His heart for youth led the congregation to vote for employing a dedicated youth and music pastor, a decision that would shape the church's future. On September 11, 2009, Jonathan and Precious Mast arrived, introducing fresh energy and ideas into the youth and music ministry of the church and reaching out to the youth at the local high school. From 2010 to 2011, Ron Weber served as interim preacher, while Jonathan assumed increasing pastoral leadership roles, and Precious stepped in as the church secretary. The congregation was experiencing a difficult season with the absence of a senior pastor, but it was also a season of growth in vision and purpose. Ministry to children and youth became central priorities. Kids for Truth equipped young minds with the scripture, and Transform Youth Group gathered teenagers for fellowship and teaching. A highlight for these years was the annual Winter Blast trips to Skyview Ranch and the annual Girls Lock-In, which drew families into the church community. The church's heart also expanded beyond its walls through Guatemala missions trips. VBS raised money to build homes, and Willie and Jane's Food Pantry was started to address food insecurity locally. At this time, the congregation also came together to pay off all debt on the building and property, a testament to their generous stewardship. In January of 2013, Pastor Jonathan was ordained and became the pastor. With the average attendance between 85 and 100, the church was again starting to slowly grow. In 2014, the church adopted a new constitution with an updated team structure, statement of faith, and mission and vision statements. From 2015 to 2019, the church saw significant improvements to music and technology, allowing it to become more of a presence through video and social media. Serve teams were also built and equipped through team nights and leadership development. The slow growth over these years had increased the attendance of the church to an average of 150 people. During that time, the church saw many testimonies of faith, baptisms, and new members added. The community was witnessing authentic transformation as the church lived out its calling to reach the Ohio Valley. In April 2019, Tim Turner served as interim pastor as Jonathan took a position in Michigan as a worship pastor. And in July of 2019, David Nelson was hired as pastor. March of 2020 brought on the COVID-19 pandemic, causing services to be moved online for several months. The church used this as an opportunity to minister through music, teaching, and children's videos online. August 2021 marked a homecoming and a new beginning. Jonathan and Precious Mast returned to the church. They brought with them a vision for multiplication, beginning with a new name that would reflect expanded kingdom purpose. On April 17, 2022, Easter Sunday, Valley Church was officially launched. The worship service that morning introduced not just a new name, but a new vision: to seek, serve, and send disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the valley and the world. 242 groups were also launched that year, gathering the growing church in small groups centered around scripture, fellowship, and prayer. Part-time staff were also hired to support the expanding ministry: worship, media, Valley Kids, and office management. But perhaps more significantly, members of the congregation were equipped and empowered to preach, teach, and serve on ministry teams. The church was multiplying leaders, not just adding programs. In 2024, the sanctuary was renovated with new carpet and chairs, creating a more welcoming and contemporary worship environment. The adjoining lot was also purchased to provide additional parking for the growing attendance. What began with 24 charter members in 1955 has become a movement of ordinary people empowered by God for extraordinary work. Today, Valley Church represents 70 years of God's faithfulness. From Temple Baptist Church to First Baptist Church to Valley Church, these names reflect our expanding vision and heart for transformation.